Last time we discussed the Xindi War, we analyzed its quote-unquote beginning, and we introduced the Makos. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the mysteries that the next episode sets up, all of which are answered in the end, I'm sure. When looking at Star Trek Enterprise's The Xindi, I honestly am not quite sure what to make of it. Like episodes that came before, it attempts to create mystery and intrigue into this new arc. The episode begins with one of the key aspects of television: telling and not showing. Every professor that I have had at my university when it comes to filmmaking has advised me that dialogue is more important than doing anything interesting on the screen. It's just the way it's done. So in that vein, through Archer, we learn that the Enterprise has been attempting to gain information for roughly 6 weeks in the Expanse and hasn't found anything. We are also shown that the vessel has been modified with an upgraded sensor platform via its newly created command center, a room that was transformed with the most state-of-the-art technology to help find the Xindi. Of course, the scene shows us how pissed off Archer is with all of this new technology and nothing to show for it. The next scene of mild significance towards the war involves Sato imposing herself on the Makos. This will be our first introduction to the Makos themselves, and it's not the best outing. Not because of the Makos, but Hoshi. This scene honestly annoys me. I can't tell if the linguist is aware of how snobbish she appears when she calls out the accents of one of the Marines, or if she's, let's say, seeing if she'll be able to test Starfleet endurance training versus that of the Makos. Either way, as I stated, the scene does set up the Makos and their mentality that they expect for Starfleet to find the Xindi so they can finish the job. This will be an ongoing point of contention for a while, and I think it's handled much better when we get the interactions with Reed later in the episode. Unfortunately, one or all of the Makos, hell, I don't know her preferences, won't get to hear God's name in Swahili as they have to leave for a briefing, leaving Hoshi by herself. From here, we get to take a look at Phlox, who is analyzing the Xindi body that crash-landed on Earth. He is able to determine that the species is reptilian, though he isn't able to get more information than that. We add to this that the Enterprise itself is experiencing weird anomalies that is impacting different sections of the ship in different ways. One of these anomalies is causing cargo to randomly fly across a cargo bay and even damage the ship. Again, we still don't know a lot about this Xindi or what's happening. It's a lot of open threads, kind of like Game of Thrones in space. Just not as good. However, even with all of these different questions that have leads of their own, there isn't really a clear destination or mission. Their luck may have changed when a freighter captain of questionable integrity advises the captain that they may find a Xindi on a planet that has an ore manufacturing facility. Of course, that area of space is dangerous, so it is a flip of the coin. We're told this and never see the freighter captain, because that's not how it's done. Once arriving to the planet, the captain and chief security officer make their way down, because when walking into a place that is less than savory with people that can't be trusted, you want to send the captain and the man who has tactical knowledge of the ship and its security complement with no backup. That way, the people you're seeing will respect you and not take advantage because of your brashness. Captain Archer discusses meeting this Xindi person with the foreman, who demands to have half a liter of liquefied platinum. Archer ultimately agrees on the condition that he can scan the person or get a blood sample to ensure that they are actually Xindi. The foreman advises that there is no need for that and gives the captain a severed finger from the Xindi man for them to scan. This will, of course, ensure the person is legit. This presents a few problems. First, ignoring their disgust at the situation, because if they aren't going to worry about red flags, why should I? How does the crew of the Enterprise know that the man is still alive? Secondly, the foreman seemed like he was willing to send them off, but had the finger ready for scanning? I know he says it was an unfortunate accident, but it's obviously a lie, and it just seems coincidental that he would have it ready. If it was an accident, wouldn't they have thrown it away or tried to put it back on or have it somewhere else in storage? I mean, I get it, there is an explanation for this. Archer is desperate and he's not thinking right, but still. Either way, Phlox confirms that the finger is indeed Xindi, though a different type. The analogy provided that the two Xindi are both the same yet different is to that of a human and a Neanderthal. It presents another mystery. We aren't dealing with one species of Xindi, but at least two. The captain returns to the ore facility, but this time with the chief engineer. Because having the man who knows the ship's engines in and out and is the best capable of repairing it in case of an attack, as well as the captain by themselves with no support, is just the Starfleet way. In any form that Starfleet takes. They provide the rare element to the foreman and make their way down to meet the Xindi man. While on their way, the foreman starts asking questions about the crew complement and their mission. Archer finds this odd, even suspicious, but drops it quickly. The two meet the Xindi, who is understandably concerned about what they want from him. He tells them that he is a prisoner, and when they try to leave, they find that they have fallen into a trap and are now unable to contact Enterprise. Enterprise, losing contact with the captain, would also detect 3 warships that were on the way and will arrive in 2 hours. Let's discuss that a moment. I think this was a really stupid way to try to capture the crew of the Enterprise. From what I can see here, it appears that there's no way to attack the Enterprise while it's in space. Even if we accept the towers on the planet have local defenses, the Enterprise is quite clearly safe where it is. T'Pol could have, and probably should have, threatened to bomb the manufacturing site to hell and back if they didn't get their crew members. The nearest help for the ore processing center is hours away. You would think they might not want to pick a fight when they can't defend themselves. Now, you could argue that the slaver ships were off trying to find new workers, but one would think they keep at least one vessel there for protection. But that's just me. Back to Archer, the Xindi does offer to help the captain and chief engineer as long as they would also promise to take him with them. With the Xindi guiding them, they begin to try to escape. Looking back at the plans for the ship, Major Hayes and Reed would agree upon a plan where the Makos are dispatched with Reed in command in an attempt to save the captain and chief engineer. Though there are some arguments between Hayes and the chief security officer. Reed wanting to take ship security and Hayes thinking that the Makos should go. While Reed takes it personally, saying that Hayes is just doing it because he believes the Makos are better than Starfleet, I honestly have to say I agree with Hayes. I think the Makos are more suited for non-ship combat, and even if they aren't, it's about the best resource allocation for the situation. Starfleet security should be on the ship, Makos should be on the ground. This entire scene is about Reed's ego, not Hayes. While Enterprise's plan is being put into place, Archer and co. are attempting to escape. The guards ultimately realize there's an escape in process, and the foreman would have them stationed at the shuttlecraft. He does this versus moving the shuttlecraft into a secured bay, because why have only the good guys make idiotic moves? After nearly getting killed by plasma, Archer, Trip, and the Xindi are unfortunately caught. The foreman would order them to be taken to the surface and shot, but before this could be done, Makos, under the command of Reed, would drop down via lines and take out a substantial amount of the guards. This battle is honestly pretty awesome, and I do need to do a battle breakdown of it at some point, though there is some idiocy when they decide to use their hands versus the weapons that they have. But we may take a look at that at a different point. For now, we do know the Makos are successful in saving the crew as well as the Xindi, who is saved but unfortunately is shot and would ultimately die. He is able to give the coordinates of the Xindi homeworld before he does, though. The Enterprise arrives to find that the planet has been completely destroyed. They determine that it was indeed the planet of the Xindi, but we have another mystery. The planet is supposed to be destroyed in over 400 years, but from what they can tell, it was destroyed decades ago. With no new leads, Archer would order that the Enterprise go deeper into the expanse. Of course, the vessel would be on the sensors of the Xindi, who decide not to destroy them, fearing it may be the front for an invasion, and they don't want to tip their hands. On the next episode, we'll break down this ongoing mystery, and I'm sure all of it will be 100% explained. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to rate and subscribe, and guys, I'm going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded.